Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So I'm just coming back from an awesome training session with my coach Rob at Victoria Martial Arts, and this past Friday, I saw Rob fight with a good friend of mine, Natalie, that came along, and we watched Rob fight for a title belt and lose. He has had the past, I think it was 11 or 12 fights have been wins, so it was a bit of a blow for him, no pun intended. Lots of things that he's learned. He fought a guy that's a southpaw. That means that usually when you fight, he's a kickboxer, but that also means that you box. So his jab is a left, your right hand is your cross, and so when it's southpaw, it means your right is your jab and your left is your cross. It's like, imagine having to move about, if you do something like in a mirror, and you kind of have to, it's the flip, right? So that's what it's like to fight someone who's a southpaw when you're not. And a southpaw who's used to fighting guys who are righties and not southpaws, because it's not very common to be a southpaw as a fighter. And so we were talking about it, and he's come back with just an incredible positive attitude, and I'll come back and maybe a rematch and on to the next fight kind of thing, right? But I know there's still pieces where it's it's hard, right? It's hard. And one of the things I said to him as I watched one of the other fighters that he has in his gym, who's now at 6-0, awesome young kid, very fierce, and he's 6-0. That means he's won 6 fights that he's had and 0 losses. Every single fight he's had, he's won, right? And that's cool, but yet here's the challenge, I feel, and this relates to the fighting world, and this relates to life, and this is why, by the way, sisters, that's what we're going to call this one. This is why life needs to knock you down. Because what I said to Rob, again, no disrespect to this young fighter, because he's powerhouse. He's an awesome fighter. And, I've witnessed him work at the gym. This kid works fucking hard, man. He deserves every win that he's had. And very talented. But, the challenge I would see with always winning is that you expect the win, right? I think it actually is harder than to come into it next time with humility, right? With a humbleness, which, if you fight, you really have to have that. I know it might seem kind of weird. You're what do you mean? I thought all fighters are savages. Remember Mike Tyson? He bit off that guy's ear, and no, a lot of the fighters are actually very, very humble, and you have to stay that way, because if you walk around or you go into the ring like your shit don't stink, you're gonna get knocked the fuck out, because you won't be paying attention, because you'll get complacent, because you'll think, I got this. Maybe you'll think you can miss some training sessions. Maybe you think that you don't have to quite push it as hard, because maybe you want to save it for when you get in the ring. Whereas when you get knocked down, the famous quote from Mike Tyson is, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? Whether that's with what happened with Rob, or it's things that come up for you in life. There are all sorts of times that we get punched in the face by life, and you can go, it's not fair, and give me a break, all this kind of shit, and it's do you realize, so the first time, let's go back to this with fighting, the first time I got punched in the face, pretty hard, 3 times actually, and then on the third one, it my nose started bloodying, and I flipped, I freaked out. It was the first time I got tapped really hard in the face, and I was sparring with a young guy, and he just didn't know, he was, not as experienced, just like me, and whatever, guy fighting a girl, there's that whole thing about it as well, and, guy doesn't want to get beat up by a girl, having people watch the sparring match, that kind of thing, right? Or watching any of your training. But anyways, I freaked out. And I was upset, and I was swearing, and I kind of stormed out of the gym, and then I was mad, then I was upset, and I felt like an idiot. I went through all these crazy emotions. And what I realized, and what it did for me the most, was that it humbled me. Because I was starting to feel pretty good, man. At that point, I was in January of this year, so I turned 49 this year in May, so I was like, you know what, I'm like a few months from 49, like, fucking look at me, man. You guys are like young guys in your like early 20s, like, yeah, you can go there, but look at this bitch fucking showing up to train, right? 2 children, husband, business, like, you know, double your age and then some, for some of them. Like, I'm the shit. I mean, not quite I'm the shit, but, you know. And so that experience was very humbling. And what happens as well, too, now, when I sparred with this guy I'm talking about, I got tagged 3 times in a very short period of time. Because I can also remember the first time that I sparred, once I got past the anger, the first time someone hits you, it was like, rah! It's like you just want to hit them back. You know, if you have children, you'll see this where it's like, they just want to hit back. If someone hits them, they want to hit them back, like, boom, right? It's like, it's this really kind of primal feel. And I would notice my oldest son used to do this with their youngest son, and they're almost 3 years difference, and Tyson's a lot bigger than our youngest Kai, and I'm like, dude, you got it, like, Kai might have hit you, and I know it's not okay, and I'm not saying it's okay, but you got to hold back a little bit. Like, he's little compared to you. You know, you're going to hit him once, and you're going to, like, take him out. And so, you know, once I kind of got past that the very first time I sparred, and then I remember the first time that I kind of got hit in the face with someone else I was sparring with, and I almost kind of like laughed, and I was like, ooh, okay, this was actually my message for me, the way that I saw it, of like, Karen, pay attention. And suddenly I realized that when you're sparring, whereas at first I would start sparring and almost like my mind would go blank, it was the craziest thing. I'm like, how is my mind blank? Like, now my mind's blank? I don't know what to do. I don't know where to throw a punch. I don't know what to, right? Once I kind of got past that, which just experience and time training, was that the first time I kind of got hit, I almost kind of laughed because I was like, yeah. And it was almost this, like, it sounds kind of like sadomasochistic, but like, I kind of liked it, right? It woke me up. It woke me up, and it was like, Karen, wake up. If you don't pay attention, you're going to get punched in the face again. Like, sister, wake up and be present and be here. So, do you see that? When we get delivered these blows in life, it is the universe, God, higher power, life just saying, sister, wake the fuck up. You got to pay more attention here. You got to be more present here, right? If something happens with your kids or something, it's like, you know, you can take a look at something. So let me give you an example. Both my boys had really tough times in summer camps. You know, just hitting, and they're tired, and not appropriate behavior, and all sorts of stuff. And I really kind of fought it. And then, like, the beginning of April or beginning of August, I was like, you know what? Like, let me just pay attention here. What are my children saying to me? I can't control my emotions right now, mommy. My kids are not bad kids. They know how to not be the way that they were showing up at summer camp. But, you know, really what I was hearing after each time, or the phone call would come through mid-morning, lunchtime, early afternoon, that camp day, and it's like, here they go, another incident, another thing that's happened. And as I really stepped back and I got out of the motion of it, right, just like, again, if my boys, someone hits something, I want to go back, and I just like, let me just take a breath, let me just step back here for a second, as I saw what I needed to see. And the message that I was getting, which was like, Karen, wake up. Your kids can't handle either the constant, like, whatever's going on at this camp or any camps. Maybe they just need a rest. Maybe they're tired, but they're telling you that they can't do this. And my youngest was, you know, I would say even a little bit worse, if you will, at sometimes. He just turned 5 in August. He's still just a little guy. And as we had the first, what's called a Pro D day here where I live in BC, like, stands for professional development, right? So when teachers have a day, they're not teaching the kids, but they're doing some kind of, like, you know, teacher training thing. And the kids have a day off school. Where a local community center has these Pro D days. So it's basically like a camp day. They go, there's a pool there, they go swimming, they go to the park, they go on a bus trip somewhere, they do crafts. Like, it's like totally fun. Tyson loves his Pro D days where we go to Oak Bay Rec Center. And Kai, like, he had a hard time this one. And, you know, my first instinct was like, oh, God, here we go again with the camp stuff. And, you know, and then I went, you know what? He's just 5. He just started kindergarten. He's figuring out the routine of that, you know? He's doing well now, about, like, almost 2 weeks in. But, I mean, you know, He's just still kind of figuring shit out. Like, calm down and wake up to the punch that I'm being delivered of, we had to pick up Kai and carry him, your fees to come from the pool and all this kind of stuff. And just be like, you know what? Little dude is telling me that he can't handle this right now. When you suddenly maybe get a health scare about something, it is life telling you right now, hey, wake up and pay attention and take care of yourself. Right? If your marriage is going through a rocky time, it's like, wake up and pay attention. Things might start going in a direction that you don't want them to go to. When I had things really fall apart for me about 4 months ago, and it was that wake up and pay attention, because the way that you're currently moving in life is no longer working, and you're trying to make things work, and it's just not. So wake up. And as much as it sucks to get punched in the face, literally and figuratively, it is there for a purpose, which is to wake you up, to humble you, to have you see something, for you to be more present, for you to be more alert, for you to see something that you cannot see in that moment until you get knocked the fuck down. It is there to teach you. And so just like Rob, as much as he's like, somewhat analyzing stuff and go, well, I did this and did that and I could do this better and all this kind of stuff. And that's cool. And I think any athlete is going to go through that, right? And just like, how can I learn from it? But I think the bigger lesson overall is just like, wake up. Wake up. Be thankful. Life is not about everything being honky-dory all the time. Everything's flowing. That's not life. You will never learn in that environment. Never learn. And you know what? Some people never have downs in their life because they never fucking try. Because they don't try. Because they keep it all safe. Because they don't want to get knocked down. They don't like the uncomfortable feeling. But what they don't understand is in that uncomfortable feeling, in those uncomfortable experiences, the most incredible growth that's right there for them is they simply fucking choose it. Take the punch. Go through that hard time. Feel all the stuff that you need to feel. And then it's your job to rise back up from it. Which we talked about in the last podcast. Or a recent podcast. So here's your more tip for today. There's somewhere in your life. I know there's somewhere in your life, sister, where you're going like, this isn't fair. I got knocked down. This person did this. This person said this. This thing has happened to me. And you're just sitting there on the ground. And you're licking your wounds. And you're just saying how life did you wrong. And that person done you wrong. No, you know what, sister? You're doing yourself wrong by choosing to stay fucking down and not stand up again and see what you were supposed to have seen in this and say, thank you. Just like that young kid that fucking punched me in the face. Kind of had in my hand, went back into like the last time it was like, or the next time it was then like a group evening class, because I do a lot of private one-on-one sessions with my coach, Rob. And then for a walk in the gym, who's the first person I see? Him. And he looks at me and he goes, I'm sorry. And I go, you know what? I so accept that apology. But you know what, brother? And I know he probably thought he was like, this lady's fucking crazy. I go, know what? Thank you. Thank you. I needed that. I know it didn't seem like it at the time when I called you motherfucker probably a dozen times and fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I went just a little off well on him. But it was an experience that I look at now and I go, that was a good experience. That was humbling. It is important for us to get knocked off our high horse sometimes in order for us to see, in order for us to get better, in order for us to expand. So where is that for you right now that you were literally either just sitting down on the ground saying, no, I don't want to get back up. This isn't fair, blah, 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 kind of thing. Or you never even get in the fucking ring. You never even try. And here's the thing that I want you to journal about. So identify what that thing is. Here's the second piece. What is it costing you to never fucking try, to never get in the ring, to never fucking fight the fight, however that looks for you? Or to sit down and wallow in your own misery and talk about how life did you wrong and to stay the victim. What is that costing you, and be honest with yourself. You could hear this and be like, yeah, I'm going to do this later. Listen, you won't want to avoid this more tip like the fucking plague, because it's going to suck for you to get honest about yourself. But that is the only way for you to move forward, is to tell the truth about this. And if we get really clear on what it's costing us, I remember, when I would do application calls for my past live events, and I would ask women, the way they're showing up in life, was it cost them? And they would often say to me, well, I don't want to think about it. My response would be, well, think about it now. We want to avoid that. Let me just go binge and do a little Netflix. Let me go to fucking Starbucks right now, which is actually where I'm going right now. Not for that reason. There's something for you to see in this experience, sister. And nobody's going to give it to you. It's up to you to find that out. So, the book that I'm creating right now is coming out within a couple of months, and I would love for you to be one of the first ones to get a copy. So head over right now to drkarenosborne.com/action guide if you currently do not receive the 112 newsletter. I've had a couple of you to tell me, like, I tried entering and I don't get it, so I don't know why that is. I cannot enter you manually. You must do it yourself. I don't know, open up a new email account, check your junk, add the email, which is drkaren@drkarenosborne.com, to your contact list. There's some reason there's some blocking something on your email you don't know about. Unfortunately, it's kind of out of my hands, but for most of you, you're going to be able to go in and actually get the newsletter. So head over to drkarenosborne.com/action guide. If you're listening on your phone, open up the show notes and you can click on the link, enter in your email, and you will get first dibs on the book coming out in fall of 2018. And I'm pumped to share it with you. So I will talk to the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from you understanding that life is about getting punched in the face sometimes, and to be thankful for those experiences. But not necessarily every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.